Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing my Code Geass Akito the Exiled Episode 5 review. Phenomenal ending, very good episode. Way to end the series. Still somewhat unanswered questions, though, coming out of this. But a lot of stuff happened, and a lot of things were founded out. So C2 does not make another appearance in the series, which makes me a little salty. I was hoping to see more of C2. We only got to see her once in a flashback from Leila's past. Kind of sucks because I thought we were going to see more. I thought C2 would be more into this than that. I didn't think it was just one little thing. But that was the case. Anyways, so it starts off where it left off. You know, we had Yukino, who was attacked and, was taken down, and all the friends come and start to aid and whatnot. So he's basically out of commission. He got Sheen, preparing because he wants to take out the castle. That's the objective here. Most of the men are basically now been defeated, so the Three Swords group people tell Jean, I kept calling her Jean, or Jeans, because that's how it's spelled, but it's really Ron. They said her name a lot in this particular episode, so it's kind of hard to not decipher it. But the thing with that I just picked up on, and I don't know if anyone else picked up on this, they got the guy's name is Ashley, and they got the woman's name as Jean, which to me, Jean's more of a guy's name and Ashley's more of a girl's name, and yet the guy is Ashley and Jean is the girl's name. Maybe that's something they do in Japan. I don't know. But anyways, I just thought that was something worth pointing out. Anyways, so they say they have to regroup, and Jean, she's just like, no, you gotta go. We have to take down this castle or whatever there, and because this is basically a continuation. There was no narration, by the way, in this episode. It was just right to the action. It just continued literally where it left off from the previous 4 other episodes where they actually did narration. So it was really interesting how they set that up. And then you got, Sheen basically saying, forget about them, I'll just eventually kill them anyways, just let them retreat. He told him that, and he's like, you said you're sure? And then, yeah. And John's like, I'm just going to kill them anyways, so it doesn't matter. So they're regrouping, and Leila, she setting up what they have to do, defense mechanisms and stuff and whatnot. Because it was just basically, the whole episode was just basically a battlefield. That was basically what it was. It's the big fighting. It's a big fight episode, the finale. Everything's coming in. Akito, they're with Leila, and they're getting back to the command center, and stuff like that. Oscar sees them, and so they're preparing for the stuff. Ashley, I don't know if I addressed this in my review in the previous episode, but obviously he has joined forces with their group, and so he asks for a nightmare, because now he's in the uniform and stuff like that. He asks for a nightmare to fight alongside them against Sheen. And so it's just there was a lot of flashbacks too in this too that they had going on, to really set up a lot of the stuff that was happening. We learned more about their Geass abilities. I thought it was really fascinating, the Geass abilities they had. Leila, she wanted to have everyone live, and Sheen was the opposite, and he wanted everyone to die. And that's kind of where their Geass powers were the opposite. They were basically a polar opposite Geass thing going on. One wanted destruction, one wanted peace. Eventually, it leads into this, them trying to knock down the castle, or because the gates are protecting the castle. So you got these guns firing, defense mechanisms trying to prevent them from getting in and trying to break through. Eventually they do get through. They're trying to get through, and then you got the nightmare frames, Akito, you got everyone else. Yukio still knocked out from this assault. He was in a coma for 7 days, I guess, as they stated later. But they showed a lot of different things, fights, a lot of good fight battles with everyone fighting, and they were really good with the nightmare frames and all those little traps that they were showing, those spikes and stuff with the wires. Just a lot of good stuff happening, with all the action, the fighting. It was really cool. They showed some stuff with Suzaku and Lelouch. Lelouch, was just like, they're in this trapped room basically. Suzaku's watching him, and they're all trapped. Lelouch asks for water. Suzaku gives him water, but then he starts to choke him. And Lelouch says to kill him, and so then he lets go, and then Lelouch says to kill him again, and then that's the end of that. For anyone who doesn't know, this is in between Season 1 and Season 2. This is before the events of Season 2, after the events of Season 1, and that's why Suzaku doesn't like Lelouch. I'm not necessarily saying that he ever regained like for Lelouch, but obviously they became more of allies in Season 2 if you guys watched Season 2. That's kind of how that all works. But I mean, Code Geass has been out for a long time now, so it's kind of, you should know this by now. It was a really good, I really liked how they, did all the scenes for that, too. And then, like I said, they went to this whole fight, I'm basically trying to take down the castle. You got Sheen fighting Akito, and they're trying to figure out one another. Also, I guess I forgot to mention that before this fight began, there was a scene with Ashley and Jean, where Jean was in the shower naked, and she heard Ashley, and Ashley, she had a gun ready, and she's like, "Why shouldn't I take you out right now?" And he explains, that he's just possessed and stuff like that and whatnot, and he was right. He was, this guy with this, that wants to be alone, and he establishes that in a flashback from himself, that he accepted the Geass to, be alone, and so, that was the whole thing there with that. But I mean, they were fighting. They were, eventually they get to the part, but they have defense measures set up. They eventually go shoot off those nightmare frames. Then you got Britannian soldiers coming in. You can tell by their uniform if you watch the original series. I mean, it's kind of clear. They were coming in. They were starting to do shooting too, and trying to figure out where to go. Eventually, we get to the part where they get into the command center, or it appears they're going to get into the command center, which is not to be, because you got they're just shooting, and then the one person prevents Leila from getting killed or whatever there. But I guess that's an illusion, I guess, because then they show the Geass, or they explain the Geass power, and so she has this blue power. You see the person from a few episodes ago that talked to Jean, that she doesn't have a name. Leila references the witch, aka C2, and he's like, no, that's a human. So apparently she is the maker of the Geass, and she explains, what she's using the Geass for. Obviously, she doesn't want that. And so they have this, conflict of what they want to do there, because, all the people were getting killed. And whatnot. And so that prevents them. Also, I think before that, there was also the scene with Yukino, who gets out of the coma, with Aino, who tells him, we have to tell Leila the information and whatnot. So they have the inside information on what they need to do, and so they got that. But with the Geass power, and they basically go out to fight and help Akito. They have like these red eyes Geasses and stuff like that, but it's kind of how it works. But she has this Geass power, and so because of this, everyone's safe, everyone's still there, and she knows that they're coming to the command center, and so she prevents defense mechanisms so they can't bust in. And eventually, she does, a radio or a live broadcast, and talks to everyone about what happened. And so they disengage. from the command center, or she does, and she goes after Akito. While this is going on, Akito and his brother Sheen are fighting. They disappear momentarily because they go, I think, into C's world, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe not. Maybe just their own image world, I guess. But it was sort of appeared to be like that. And they kind of explained, basically Akito's past, that, why Sheen is so pissed at everyone, why he did what he did, because it all started with the fact that his mother banged someone else, and not his father, or not Sheen's father. Like, his brother, technically his brother is a half brother, I guess, because they have different fathers. That's legally not, Sheen's father is legally not Akito's father. And so when the father, I guess, finds out about this, he not only kills the person who, banged his wife, he decides to not kill his wife because he said killing her is too easy. Which I thought was kind of an interesting choice, because usually something like that, I'm assuming this person was a powerful person, or a ruler or something, but usually something like that leads to the person being killed, but I guess that wasn't the case here. So that led to Sheen doing what he did. He, of course, decided not to kill his mother. Well, eventually he does once he gets the Geass power, but I think it was on accident, because when they showed it, it was like, I didn't mean to do this. But then Akito surprisingly lived. So then he was like, die now, because he doesn't want to see him suffer. So that's why he wanted Akito to die, but obviously Akito didn't die. And so that would leave with that. They also showed an image, a flashback with Leila with Akito, about a painting that looked like Leila, and that he had always seen it, and it reminded him of Leila, and he had liked that as well. So a lot of flashbacks were done in the last, couple of screen times here through all these scenes, and it was really good. And then they had this, once they got out of their nightmare frames, they had this, whole sword fight, and Sheen was winning it. He got a couple cuts in, and Sheen was like, why don't you just die? It will be better that way for you. And then you see all these ghostly images that are trying to protect Akito. The mother says, don't kill him, and whatnot. All these other people, the Britannian foster parents who took him in, the foster sister, all these people. And he's like, no, I can't do that. He must die. And then out of nowhere, as he's about to kill Akito, Jean comes in, and she takes the sword to the chest, and that kills her. However, which we didn't really see until after it happens, is that she actually had a gun ready, and she shot Sheen while he stabbed her. So she died, but then he had a gun, to a fatal wound, which eventually then killed him, but not right away. And so after that, he talked to Akito and all the stuff that, why he did his stuff. And, Akito was like, no, don't go. And he does. And, he just struggles, and he goes, right to Jean, because Jean, loved him, because before this scene, there was a scene where Jean was going to do the order that he wanted her to do, her to do, and you had Aelone, who basically got out of her nightmare frame and told her, why are you doing this, for someone that, is not going to love you and stuff like that. She was shooting at her, but not shooting her in the parts of where she could kill her and stuff like that. And so, eventually she gives in and they hug and stuff like that. And that's what leads into, of course, this ending where she does this. And so then when he goes down to die, he holds her hand, and they show the ghostly image before that of her and him, because now they're dead, and then they show both their dead bodies, holding hands. So they show that, so, that's how they did that whole setup. Meanwhile, after that, you got Sir Ashley, who I guess is back on the Britannian side because now he's like in a uniform again. And the people are like happy for him and stuff like that. These soldiers, they go after Jean Smiles, and they take him down. Basically, Jean Smiles is taken down pretty easily, and the no-named ghost person basically, says you won't be able to see that, because you're about to die, and he dies. And so then they say the dictatorship is over. Gene was a dictator, and it returns to the Republic, which I don't really get the concept, because I don't know if Europe got taken over or not, or if it was just restored to the regular government for the EU. It just seemed really kind of weird how that was all set up. And I don't exactly know if they all acknowledged that Leila was still alive or not, because I don't think they really got into that with the broadcasting. So yeah, and so that's how that all ends. And then we kind of get to the end where they're all back to where that old people were that made them do free labor for a while there. And, they're all set up in their clothes and stuff like that. And then at the end, you get to Akito and Leila. They're holding hands, they're blushing. Both of them, may I add. And, then you have Akito, are you sure you want to do this, Commander Leila? And then he just pauses and then just calls her Leila, and then they hold hands, and then Leila just kissed him on the cheek, not the lips. I would have liked to have seen a much better one. It was just kind of like just, oh yeah, quick type kiss. I thought they were gonna actually go in and do like a real kiss type thing, or at least that's what it looked like they were setting up for. But they were holding hands, they were blushing, so they're officially a thing. But I was thinking they were gonna do more than just that at that point, the way they were setting that up. Because it was even before the episode, because there was a flashback, Leila said, after this battle, I have something to tell you, because he cut off his hair, in case he didn't make it back, and she told him, you better make it back. I can't tell you this now, but it's not the right time to say this now, but after the battle, I want to, tell you this. And it was to basically tell him that she loved him. And so everyone was smiling for that. And that's really how that whole sequence ends for that, for at least them. Hopefully we see them in season 3. I do like these characters. These characters are really cool. They need to get some more involvement with these guys in season 3. This is kind of like, that's it, you know. I wonder what does happen to them in season 2. Now that I think of it, because remember, season 2, there was a lot of shit that happened in season 2. You know, everyone was like getting killed in season 2. Like, you know, hopefully they made it out of that. But anyways, so then after that, they that's it for basically all that stuff, and then they show at the end, Lelouch, or Julius Kingston, and Suzaku, and Rollo comes in, and it was a weird kind of accent. I did look it up. It is the same. They did get Spike, I believe his name was, the voice actor who did Rollo in the first 2 seasons of Code Geass. They got him back, it appears, for Rollo for this OVA series, but his voice was a little different. I mean, I sort of could tell it was him, but at the same time, it was slightly different. He was kind of a little more foreign, which I thought was kind of weird, because, you know, again, he doesn't need to sound foreign because his voice has been established. You know, with Lelouch and Suzaku, they didn't really do any changes. Same with C2's mini part. They didn't really have the voice actor change their tones, but for Rollo, they slightly, I thought, did that, but it was the same voice actor, so it's not really a big deal, but it was sort of a little different, I thought. And he basically, you know, with his one part, he basically says, Julius Kingston, you know, your request with the Emperor is being requested, and, you know, will you come back, Suzaku? And that's basically what it is. And I guess that is kind of to lead into the next events, which, of course, you know, is season 2, which explains why Rollo is with Lelouch. You know, this is what they were doing with him for the time being, until they decided not to need him anymore and just have him, you know, do his own life. With season 2, but I mean, also they could have had him do this. They could have had him do this, Lelouch do this, while they were trying to set up, you know, the memories and stuff like that. You know, the changed memories. You know, Nonnally, because there was even a mention of Nonnally in this episode. You know, earlier, which I forgot to mention. Lelouch, you know, had Suzaku had mentioned that we will go, you know, get Nonnally, or whatever. They had mentioned that early on. So, this could have been a tie-in until they got Nonnally as the Viceroy, because she ends up becoming the Viceroy of Area 11. Well, she wasn't the Viceroy right away, but, I mean, eventually she does. You know, she goes back to the homeland and eventually becomes the Viceroy. So, I mean, this could have, you know, changed. This could have been a tie-in to buy the Emperor time to use the Geass on everybody that Lelouch was involved with, you know, so they wouldn't remember that, you know, Nonnally and whatnot. At least that's what I think. But, like I said, this was a really good series. I waited a good 4 years for this to be English dubbed. I mean, the first episode in Japan was released in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, so that's a long time. And Bandai went bankrupt in 2013, so that is a long time to wait for an English dub. just to watch it, because this is the first time I've watched it. Obviously, I'll watch some of the extra stuffs. I was trying to look at some of the extras, but it doesn't seem they really had any. All that I seen was a trailer, which I'm assuming is just the advertisement. And then they also had, I think, episode 3 commentary, which I don't know if that's the English dub or if that's the original Japanese voice actors. I hope they did commentary with the English voice actors. I don't want to hear the Japanese voice actors, which I don't listen to that stuff anyways. If it's the English voice actors, I'll listen to it. It appears they have no picture dramas, which I thought there were picture dramas for that. Maybe there wasn't for this OVA series. They only English dubbed the picture dramas for season 1 of the main series. I don't believe they did it for the they didn't do it for season 2, and I don't think Funimation did it when they reprinted. So we didn't get those, unfortunately. But overall, I liked it. I'm hoping we get more Code Geass. I mean, obviously we're getting a season 3 at some point. Don't know when it will be up for licensing. Hopefully, if it starts this year in Japan, we might get it by 2018. But there's no guarantee. Obviously, we know it took 3-4 years for this to get back into print, so I mean, nothing can be worse than the future at this point. I really hope they get Nonoli's Wonderland, though. That's one of the OVAs I really would like Funimation to pick up in English dub. And from what I've seen, the sales are doing pretty good since they're on back order right now for this OVA series. So I hope the Nonoli's Wonderland comes up for licensing. Maybe they'll get it as a package deal with season 3 when that comes up for licensing, because I really like to get that English dubbed as well. But yeah, that's my review for the episode 5 Code Geass Akito the Exiled. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like this episode, and did you like this series? Let me know, comment, rate. If you like this video or any of my other videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here.